follow, so. Alright. So we're gonna start with centering, so if you guys could sit cross-legged, please. We're going to do a 3-part breath. So a lot of the times I find that I try to like hold my stomach in, actually let your belly out. And you're gonna breathe from your belly, and then a little higher into your diaphragm, and then into your chest. So slowly breathe in, start at the bottom, and work your way up for your breath. So we're gonna do that 3-part breath we practiced last time. So feel your ribs expand, and then as you breathe out, go from your ribs to the center to your belly. Try to get all that air out. So in, feel your abdomen expand, exhale. All right, we're gonna do some nose circles. And I want you to imagine there's a glass window in front of your nose, and you're gonna kind of articulate those circles kind of spiraling out, keeping your head straight up and down. And you're gonna not turn on the autopilot, just kind of actually be aware of where you are and what you're doing as you draw those circles. And just slightly make them larger and larger. You're gonna hear lots of little crunches and crackles in your neck, and that's normal. And then reverse the direction. Just keep that nose on that window, and then come back to center. All right, we're gonna go into our tabletop position. Hips over knees, wrists under your shoulders, elbow creases facing each other, middle fingers facing forward. And we're going to inhale down, lifting our sacrum to the ceiling. And then we're gonna exhale up, dropping that head down and lowering that pelvis. In. And you're gonna do this at your own rhythm, with your own breath. So exhale up, inhale down. We're going to come into child's pose, so just kind of drop back on your heels, reach your hands forward. And just stay here for a minute or two. If you need a little more space for your belly, just draw your knees farther apart. And then come back up into tabletop. And we're gonna thread the needle, so you're gonna take your right hand and it's gonna slide under that space under your left armpit. And you're gonna come down onto that right shoulder, looking over to your left, towards that left hand. This is a nice shoulder stretch. Then you're gonna come back up into table. And you're gonna thread that left hand under that space by your right shoulder and look over your right. Okay, we're gonna come back up. And then we're going to come up into Tadasana. So we're going to just kind of shift our weight back to our feet. Walk your hands towards your feet. And then we can come up using our cactus arms that we practiced, or with your hands on your hips, and just hinge kind of up at your hips so you bring your back up safely. And come to the front of your mat. And think about your bones going straight down, aligned with the ground. And you want to try to just kind of let, it sounds kind of hippy-dippy, but you almost want to imagine that you're kind of swaying with the rotation of the earth when you're in Tadasana or mountain pose. So you want to kind of put your weight on your heels and see if you can wiggle your toes. And then kind of put your toes down and get all those contact points rooted into the mat. And then head nice and tall. So even though it's a very simple pose, there's lots of little tweaks you can do in all these yoga poses. And now we're going to step back with our left foot into Virabhadrasana, or Warrior One. You're going to turn your right heel so it aligns with the center of your left foot. Right knee over your ankle, not too far, so right over that ankle. And you're going to reach your shoulders out. And you want to kind of think about your hands going in opposite directions, so really kind of drop those shoulders back and reach those hands out far apart. This is a nice strong pose. And then you're going to look over that right hand. Now we're going to put our left hand back along our left thigh. We're going to look up at our right hand in Warrior Two. And then you're going to bring that left hand up. And then we're going to, I'm sorry, I skipped something. We're going to come back to Tadasana. Okay. All right, so now we're going to take a step back with our right foot, and we're going to do the other side. So same thing with the alignment, and then we're going to reach our hands straight up, looking over that left knee in Warrior One. It was not what we did the last one. And then we're going to go into Warrior Two by shifting our hips and turning our hands and stretching them out. And then you're going to reverse your warrior by dropping that right hand towards that straight leg and looking kind of up at that left hand. Good job, guys. All right, we're going to come back to our Tadasana, or our mountain pose. Now we're going to try some balancing. So we're going to go into tree pose. So you are going to shift your weight over to your left leg. Your right foot can be alongside your left foot. It could be on your calf, or it could be on your thigh, but you never want to put it on your knee, because that will put a lot of stress on your knee. So find a place that's comfortable for you. And then all you're going to do is you're going to reach your hands up, and you're just going to find your branches wherever you want them to be. They could be straight up, they could be out to the side, however you want. They could be in Namaste, whatever is comfortable for you. Find those branches. And you'll notice one side is usually a little bit better than the other side. All right, you can bring your foot back down. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So shift your weight over to your right leg. Place your left foot wherever feels comfortable for you for your balance. And find those branches. And if you feel a little wobbly, you can always tap your toe back down. Lots of beautiful trees in here. All right, great job, everyone. Come down to a seated position. We're going to try Ardha Matsyendrasana. And you're going to take your right leg and you're going to bend it. Sorry. You're going to take your right foot and put it over your left thigh. And you're going to hug your knee with your left arm. You're going to take your right hand and place it as close as you can to your sacrum. That's going to keep your spine nice and tall. If it's back here, you'll find that your back kind of rounds. So you want to put it nice and close and put that head up towards the ceiling. And then what you're going to do is you're going to twist towards your right. And you're going to start with the belly, then the chest, then the head, then the gaze over that right shoulder. And when you breathe in and then breathe out, try to very slowly twist a little deeper if you can. So on that exhale, you try to push that twist without forcing yourself. And then when you come out of it, you're going to go with your head, chest, and abdomen. and then come back to neutral. And we're gonna do the opposite side. So put your left leg over your right thigh, hug your knee with the opposite arm, and then the free hand put by your sacrum, and you're gonna do the same thing where you're gonna twist to your left, starting with your abdomen and then working your way up, 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 up to the head. Gaze is the last thing that twists, and I would save that for the exhale. And just continue to breathe. I like to take deep breaths through my nose and then exhale through my nose because I feel like the muscles hold a lot of tension. And when you exhale, it releases a lot of that tension. Okay, come back to neutral. All right, so we're gonna do pigeon a little differently. We're gonna come into it differently. I like to come into pigeon from tabletop, and it's a little bit more tricky, but with pigeon, you really wanna have a really good alignment, and it's one of my favorite poses, so I wanna make sure I explain it like really well. So come into tabletop, and fingertips facing forwards. Make sure those elbows aren't hyperextending and those creases are facing each other. You're gonna slide your right knee up to meet your right hand, and you're gonna extend your left leg back. Then you can kind of scoot your foot over in front of that left thigh. Now, if that's too intense of a stretch for you, you can always kind of just bring your legs up in a way that's more comfortable for you. You wanna make sure the more your knee is extended out, the more pressure you put on your hip. So you wanna kind of keep that knee forward. And now here, you want to imagine that your lower back is relaxing down to the floor, and the crown of your head is stretching out towards the ceiling. So it's almost that kind of, those opposites again, like from Warrior 2, where those two areas are kind of pulling apart. And it's kind of counterintuitive for that, but, so your head reaches up, and your lower back relaxes down. And this is a great stretch for your piriformis, your psoas muscle, and it also surprisingly works those SI joints, which we talked about last night, which can't really be worked very well, but pigeon's a good one for those. And if you can, you're gonna wanna kind of fold forward over your leg. If not, stay where you are. Now the goal with pigeon, you really wanna hold it for about 5 minutes to get those deep piriformis muscles, because they will tighten up. We don't have 5 minutes, so we'll do it for about a minute. And here you want to really take those deep breaths. So breathe in, and then breathe it out. That helps encourage those muscle fibers to loosen up. So you want to take about 3 deep breaths down here, or wherever you are. And then come back up, and you're gonna extend that back leg a little bit farther if you can, that left leg. And think about that lower back relaxing. Try not to roll over onto your hip. Keep that head nice and tall. And now come into your tabletop. And feel that sensation in your right hip. You should feel kind of the blood rushing in to that area. And just stay here for a moment. And just be aware of what's going on in your body. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So bring your left knee forward up by your left hand, stretch that right leg back, and then kind of shift that foot slightly over in front of that right hip. And then take a moment to breathe here. Those little tweaks are important. You never wanna just stay in a pose and not move the whole time. So if you want to shift your foot back farther, you can. If you want to kind of concentrate on lowering that lower back down, but also keeping that head nice and tall. That's a really hard thing to do. And this is a very intense stretch. And you may lower down if you'd like. And don't force anything. Remember to breathe in. Let it out. That's what's going to loosen up those muscle fibers. and then come back up. And kind of draw that left leg, right leg back a little farther, if you can. Make sure your hips are kind of facing forward when you do pigeon. You don't want to roll over onto one side. All right. Now we're going to go onto our backs for our Shavasana. Or a corpse pose. So you're going to lay on your backs of your hands down, feet, legs on the ground. And we're going to do a body scan. So I want you to focus your awareness on your feet and how they feel touching the mat. And I want you to relax them. Breathe, relax. Then think about the backs of your legs. If you want, you can tighten up those muscles and then relax them. Continue to breathe at your own rhythm. Relax the fronts of your legs. Feel your body in the mat. Hear the sounds of the room, the birds outside, the cars driving by. And relax your lower back. Let go of all that tension, any worry, any anxiety or stress you may have about today. And then relax your abdomen, upper body. Relax your fingers, your hands, and try to focus your awareness on these body parts and think about just breathing and releasing any tension in those areas. Relax your shoulders, your jaw, your tongue in your mouth, the muscles around your eyes and forehead, and breathe. And I want you to imagine you're in a really peaceful place by a quiet stream in the mountains, or laying on the sand, listening to the ocean waves. And now if you guys want to roll over onto your side, and stay here for a breath or two.